Right now we see the game between Alexander GRISCHUK and Jan NEPOMNIACHCHI.
Yeah, so we will be following this one, and yeah, the results from the previous round. I think GRISCHUK lost to Karyak in that one. We've seen Jan NEPOMNIACHCHI lost to Dmitry Andreikin. Gelfand won against Fedoseev,
and Daniil
Dubov won against Mamigyarov with black. So
yeah, we checked the game. It was a very exciting game. Well, the White King got checkmated on d3.
Right, and
so let's see. Let's see it somehow. Some Scheveningen with the dragon. I'm not sure how to call this line.
It started with as a closed Sicilian, so not knight c3.
And now we see. No, probably
G2.
it's like closed dragon, or when g6.
Yeah, dragon with g3, but an extra move b3 makes it a little bit strange. Yeah. Now from my phone, I actually see the time. I see the time,
okay, so you see,
that's good. Pardon, guys, but I will have to look there. GRISCHUK is the one who is spending time. He's on 4:30, while NEPOMNIACHCHI blitzed out all the moves, and he's even, he's on more than the starting time, 5:15. Knight d5, which is, not exactly. Not exactly an exchange sacrifice. I thought it's a
because when black takes, white takes with the pawn, and on bishop takes a1,
there is d takes c6,
and then queen takes a1.
Right, so what to do for black? I mean, usually this kind of setups against the dragon with g3, with bishop e2, considered to be not really dangerous. So.
But again, in a blitz game, you don't always look for complications and lines where there is a huge number of theoretical variations. You want to, just to develop your pieces, basically follow the basic chess rules, like develop your pieces, castle, and then little by little to create some problems.
That's generally very good advice. Like, try to get the position where you know the plan, when you know what to do. I mean, like to play in a schematic way, because otherwise, spending time on every single move really hurts you. So in this regard, I would say dragon is not a bad choice for. I mean, if you know what you're doing, it's not for black. Yeah, I mean, okay, if you get mated, you get mated. I mean, this is not the case here because they play with castles, both castles short
side castles. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of moves followed: bishop e6, queen to d2, and it's kind of a last call to try to take this rook on a1. Because, next move is rook a d1. No. Knight e5, and then you can't play rook a d1 just now, because black is prepared to take the pawn on h3, I guess.
Well, yes, GRISCHUK noticed this little trick, and he played f4 first, and now probably
chasing the knight to d7, and then...
Well, there are several possibilities for it. They can move the rook away, they can play c3, or they can play bishop d4.
Yeah, bishop d4 is good, yeah.
Or they can play knight d4, you see?
Knight d4 is possible. Yeah, well, he actually ended up playing knight d4. Black is looking for a possibility to go knight c5. He actually did this, knight c5.
The pawn on e4 is hanging, so...
Knight takes e6, and then it's a question, what do we take on e6 with? Because sometimes they take with the pawn, yeah? Knight e6, now, after rook a d1. After rook a, I mean, for instance, I'm not sure if white plays rook a d1.
Yes, he did play.
Rook a d1.
Rook a, he played to c1.
Rook a to c1. Okay, and then knight takes d5, pawn takes d5. This is one of the kind of key positions in dragon.
Okay.
I think so. In this type of dragon, so. With various materials, sometimes black takes with the bishop on d5. Sometimes both sides have like light square bishops, but this structure. It's really not easy to understand when it's good for white, when it's good for black, right? By an instinct, I would say that white needs one more pair of knights in this structure, then you can get the knight on d6, on c6, if, let's say, if knight d5, e5 happens. But black just played knight c5, knight f6, bishop takes f6. Looks like 3-2 bishops to me.
Yes.
Like 3 pair of bishops. c4, white has all the reasons to be happy. Well, b4 is an answer from Jan NEPOMNIACHCHI very quickly.
Yeah, somehow he's trying to probably close, right, the
Yeah.
pawn structure, not to open it up the position because of those two bishops.
Yeah, well, he is trying to stabilize the position. Obviously, queen b4 was not an option because of knight d3. Rook goes to d1. White is getting ready for some breaks like e4, e5. Bishop c3. Now white has to move the queen. Maybe queen
To
c2.
F2 or to e2.
c2, e2, and then we'll play h4 maybe. We'll try to disturb the, like queen e2, black will move the queen apparently, not to get on the e5, and then,
Yeah,
I like a move
h4.
like h4, just to see how black is reacting to this one, because h5 is already a commitment.
Yes, after f5, the pawn on g6 will be kind of hanging.
Well, what's
Oh,
interesting?
looks very pleasant for white. Very
Yeah,
pleasant.
looks very pleasant for GRISCHUK.
C2, yes, he did.
He is
And then he
spending time.
played
Queen
h4.
c2, queen c7, and he does play h4. Then, he will probably spend like few more moves lifting up the position. Bishop f3, king g2, this is like, the standard moves here. White queen went on c2, maybe to keep, extra
The eye on
protection.
g6, I would say.
Yeah, well, keeping an eye on g6
after
is
h5,
important.
for example,
There is a motive to play e5, and when they take, to go f5.
or
That's
f5
good.
and then e5. Yeah, probably starting with e5, so not
Yeah,
to
I like
let.
the idea to play e5 so that there will be no blockade on e5. Like e5, d takes f5, and then who knows? Maybe this still doesn't work right now, but as an idea, this is certainly what GRISCHUK is looking for. h5 played.
Black did play, h5, because letting white play h5 also didn't look like.
Yeah, you
know.
don't want it, because then it's not that white takes immediately, but he always has the possibility to
Yes.
take, and this is what makes it annoying. This is what makes it annoying that. Okay, h5. Now the question is if he will go for, I don't know, some active play immediately, or he
King
has.
h2, yeah, bishop f3. I like
can
those kind
prepare.
of little moves, and he can put the rook on g1 also.
Yeah,
Rook g1 and
he has
g4.
He has played king h2, knight goes to d7. But Jan is
Probably
also
to
tricky.
f6 to g4.
He's trying to bring the knight, yeah, he's trying to bring the knight to f6 and then to g4. Well, what white is supposed to do? I'm not sure. Looking now at this
Well, with two
position.
bishops, it's also possible to start playing on the queen side, to play a3 now, or it's with the king on h2. It might be,
Well-
it might not be a good idea.
Like a3. I'm not sure. I mean, he will play a5, and then even if we take, we don't have access to a5.
No, but probably
so-
he's right. I mean, he played bishop h3,
He
and then
plays
he will
bishop
continue to
h3.
play on the king side, either
So
by
now-
g4 or.
Yeah, now black has to. Rook c to d8, and he takes
took.
the knight. But this
Interesting
is,
decision. That's what I mean when you say that you have two bishops advantage. When one has two bishop advantage, this advantage. The good thing is you can convert it, right? That one of the bishop can be exchanged,
Yeah, so now we'll
and
see.
to know
Rook
when to
takes.
exchange it.
Now the feeling is like you do exchange the second bishop as well. I mean, maybe not immediately, but bishop on c3 is very strong. So you do play. F5.
Immediately.
I mean, he will play bishop d4 one day. I think like
Or
bishop
here,
e5 or bishop f4 in this
Yes.
case. Bishop f4. All right, and
well, and then rook g5, and
yeah. Well, interesting. If black takes now, do we take with the pawn? That's like opening the file, rook g1 and even
no, I
queen
would
g2.
say the rook, because to open the file we can always play g4 then. So
What happens now?
to take on g6
Now
and
it's
e5.
time for Jan to think a little bit. Well,
what is the
checking
time? Yeah.
situation. It's 1 minute for GRISCHUK, a little bit more than 2 for Jan NEPOMNIACHCHI. Bishop g7.
Well, taking on a4
Bishop
seemed
g7.
like weakening the king side too much, I would say.
Yeah, but then after queen d2, the bishop
And then bishop
will be-
h6.
Bishop will
There is
be
no way to
exchanged.
save it. Yeah.
Bishop will be exchanged this way or another. Queen d2, by the way, attacks the b4 pawn as well. queen to b7, counter-attacking the pawn on e4. But how about
e5?
e5, yeah. I'm not sure if I want it, but...
well, the only problem that white has right now is the time, right? It's less than a minute, so it will become noticeable at some point.
At some point, yeah, this game might turn to be, you know, like
chaotic.
Who's playing faster? Who's playing faster?
Well,
That will be
e5, yeah.
e5. So that's serious now. That's serious because various continuations for white after this one. It's like many ideas. f6 and taking on d6. e6, anything, just to take on d6. In many ways, white can continue.
Well, queen e4, right?
Queen e4, activating
Looks
the queen. Looks decent, but what happens after f6? Isn't it like white getting very dangerous pawns?
Well, I'm sure that white can, get some kind of advantage, but unfortunately you need some time for that.
Yeah, and
to
GRISCHUK
calculate.
is on seconds. Yeah, GRISCHUK is on seconds, 26 seconds according
And
to
so
what I
in this
see.
kind of situations, when you are running out of time, you tend to choose like the safest option you have.
Okay, so he takes on g6. Now it's a question how to take on g6 for black, because I don't really think he can
With the pawn probably, but then rook d2 e1. Then probably even e6 can
Queen takes.
with the queen. Okay.
That's a pawn, right? Takes white. Technically, no, white can't take because of bishop e5.
They cannot play rook e1 for the moment, that's the problem.
Queen takes before, it is a pawn. I felt like
a pawn
there is some pawn. Yeah.
And no bishop c3
Rook
anymore.
e8, queen back to d2, then
Rook
rook f2. White objectively has to be winning. What can we say?
Well, rook d2 e7, yeah. And then after rook e1, everything will be exchanged, and then queen c2.
Ah, you meant like
Yeah,
this.
some
But there
counterplay.
is
That
queen
looks...
d2.
That
There is
looks...
queen d2 back. So he swaps all the rooks, queen c2, but queen d2 is there.
Yeah.
Queen d2, and what do you do then? It's like king h3? What
Well,
was,
king h3...
what was the problem with queen d2? I don't really understand.
I didn't see it, yeah. I didn't see any problem.
Queen d2, it's like your d6 pawn is hanging and it's hopeless to
Yeah, and
swap
bishop
the queens.
endgame is 1, of course. But maybe this one is also good, because if
that's
black
good
takes on
enough.
a2, queen
Then it's a
e8, queen
check.
f7, queen h5, why not?
Yeah,
I
then
mean,
it's a check. But it feels like giving black extra options. Bishop
Well-
e5. And then queen's ending is,
they are tricky.
always lot of checks.
Too many checks.
Yeah, a lot of checks. Now, for instance, after bishop e5, he wants to give a check on f5. Then he will take on e5, having...
Queen d2. You see, he
Now
noticed.
queen d2.
He noticed this move. Probably he just missed it. Queen f5 now. Will
Now,
be
of course,
played.
queen f5 is the...
I know.
Queen
We
b1,
didn't.
threatening a threat.
And king h2, yes.
Threatening a bishop e5,
oh.
but this is...
Oof, looks scary. I thought the checkmate is coming, but no, it's not.
It's not a
But check, and
but-
take on e5, but then...
Yeah, he can... Well, can he actually...
He made a move with 2 seconds on the clock. For me, it's always also...
He can actually take on e5 immediately, right? He can give like
He can.
checks. He can give check on f5. He takes on e5 immediately. King goes back to h2. Now e4.
Oh, this pawn will be very
Trying
unpleasant.
to make use of this pawn. King g2. King is coming closer to this passed pawn. Yeah, once again, we have to mention that in queen's endings... Yeah,
Well, actually, less than 10 seconds per both players.
e3. What? I thought that's the only chance to have this pawn.
Well, but then
Queen
king f2, king
c2.
s3, so... No,
Now-
look, well, it's a winning endgame for white, but the problem is that it's...
So, yeah, the time is the problem, of
Yeah.
course. King e5.
well, at least now both players are very low on time.
Takes, queen takes c4. Yeah, white was looking for a way to bring
It's
the
interesting,
king.
yeah, that's the first
Queen
check that
g5,
white gives.
Queen d8, queen d4. Wow, that's played very quickly, and it seems to be a very nice maneuver. So
King
now a counter check on e4, king g8.
You know that the long diagonal, the longest diagonal is the most important one in Queen's endgame.
Yeah, so queen e4, GRISCHUK takes it. King goes to f4, and then king to g5, no?
Well, he can.
No,
repeat
he
a
doesn't
few
want.
moves.
He doesn't want to go to g5.
Well, you can get
King
checkmated
f3.
there.
Now this looks like some sort of perpetual check. Not
Well, to
really.
h3 I can go
well,
to
now
h3.
to h3 and no checks, but same no checks for
Well.
white. Same no checks for white.
Unfortunately, not so easy to
King
get
h2
out of
back.
checks.
Yeah, but
Okay,
but
probably
this
the
way
king
you're
should
not
go
escaping.
closer to the a pawn now, to give away the g3 pawn and to go.
Yeah, just somehow to run away from those numerous checks. Queen c7. Well, I don't really see how the king is getting mated after king g5, but now yeah, I think there was a different situation because now black just takes on g3.
Feels like threefold repetition already.
Yeah, it could be that it's already a threefold.
Oops.
King f2. So now
No, he didn't even take.
He doesn't bother taking. Yeah, queen e2. But he will end up, I guess. He will end up taking the a4 pawn, giving the h5 pawn. Yeah, that's precisely what happens. Queen to d4.
And
I wonder if we have any other games
Yes.
going. Because
And
this
at least the results of the
might
because
be-
this might continue for quite a
okay,
long
we
time.
do have some results. Andreikin wins. He's on 2 out of 2. This time he won against Fedosiev. Kramnik wins against Karyakin. Peter Swidler has won with black against Vladislav Artemiev. And Vishy Anand has won against Morozevich. So Vishy's on 2 out of 2. Andreikin's on 2 out of 2. Mamedyarov won against Gelfand, so both on 50%. Yeah, so far 2 leaders, Andreikin and Vishy. And here we have, yeah, so they'll remain.
And
2
here we
leaders.
have a few more 100 moves coming.
Yeah, I think that's the last game. Let me check. That's the last game in progress in this round. So we basically cover the only game, which tends to be quite GRISCHUK. Well,
there are not
some
gonna
progress, huh?
be a lot of significant changes.
You
White
don't-
will
you don't
try
think-
to. Well, White will try to improve the position to somehow to push the pawn to create some threats, but
H6,
But
right. And
but Black
then
will give many checks, many
check,
checks.
Queen goes to f4, check.
Somehow,
King h4, no checks for the
well,
moment.
yes.
And Queen g5 is a threat.
King h7
Okay.
probably I can play, no? Can I?
King h7 is possible, right? But then at least
Probably
we
g4.
get, at least
No,
we
no, he
get
takes.
this
Uh-huh.
check here, then check on f6, I guess. It's actually very close. Queen e6, okay. King g7, check from g4. The only move is king h6. Queen to e4. So he's looking for right
For
moment to play.
one pawn endgame.
Yeah, he's looking for right moment to play g4. Check,
King
driving
g4.
the king
He should play,
to g7. You think to keep the king g4. So the point being to be able to exchange the queens
Yes. And to get a pawn.
to make sure that the final endgame is winning. King to h3 doesn't feel right.
Well, I mean, here I think still.
Yeah, with king being in front of this pawn, it's not possible to win, but the game
For
will
example,
continue,
Queen
of course.
g7, Queen g4. Voila. We got a winning pawn endgame.
Yeah, I mean, you can lose, of course, yeah, but if, say, if black plays precisely, you can't really lose this one. Check, king to g5, and king to h4, and there is queen h6 check, and now it is a draw. Yeah, and he spotted it very quickly.
Well, I mean, there
Now
are not
it's
so
a
many
draw.
lines to calculate, right?
Yeah, now it's a draw. It's either you take and black has the
Yes.
opposition, or you go to g4.